I don't have any tooth. I'll admit it. I will brag. Those players did not just go and whip that ass for us to be like, oh, good game. No, we whipped your ass. We took $800,000. Now we're partying with it.
Yeah, who cares if you're in the Power 5 conference if you don't win it, ever? Or you don't beat any of the teams in it? Like, what's the point of that? Wouldn't you rather win the conference and say, like, hey, my team is good, than lose the conference and say, well, our conference is good?
Look, they don't call me Tip for nothing. And my tip is, look out for the group of 5 this season. They've been taking it to the Power 5 year after year.
The only quarterbacks that ever get any love are from the Power 5. I can easily list off the top group of 5 quarterbacks I would rather have than those guys. I would be willing to bet that at least one of them is going to be in the running for the Heisman this year.
Down the middle, James, the lateral to the corner of the end zone. Can you believe that?
What's up, everybody? Group of 5 Guys podcast, 12 Days of Christmas special. I'm fired up about this episode. This is going to be, we're going to give the 12 most important things an athletic department can give to its community to increase fan engagement. Should be a really, really good time. A little Christmas special. We'll be off next week and probably the week after until after the holidays are over. Hope everybody enjoys their family, friends, a little bit of downtime. A bit of bowl football. Before we go any further, you guys make sure you hit like and subscribe. YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. Follow us on all the social media platforms at Group of 5 Guys. Go to group5guys.com. Get you some swag, hoodies, t-shirts, all that kind of good stuff. As always, let's go around the horn. Everybody's got Christmas sweater, festive sweaters if you're not watching, if you're just listening. Swag Bear, how are you?
Excellent. Just got a fresh cut today, as you can tell. I feel like I just look amazing. You know, it's a really good haircut when you're driving home from the barber and you almost wreck 3 times, but you can't stop looking at yourself, looking at the old rearview mirror. Also, Steeple, PC, shout out, son. You've been giving me a lot of love past few weeks. So I went to this place called Publix Sprouts. They sell boudin, they sell beer, they sell all kind of, even Andy Gators. Found some Yingling flights, bought me a 12-pack, and I got to tell you, they're going down pretty good, like water. And we'll see how this episode goes. I'm having a good time.
Congratulations. Yeah, I'm getting a haircut tomorrow. I'm pretty fired up about it. Ain't nothing better than hot towel on the face, straight single blade razor, trimming up the beard, detailing you up.
My dude Kumar, he was
Wait. Your barber's name is Kumar? Like from the movie?
Kumar or Kuman, something like that. Commander Commander. And whenever I walked into the barber shop, I didn't place my make a reservation. So I was like, I'm just going to pop in here. Appointment, thank you. Mm-hmm. And if you go in there, usually they'll have a couple of ladies in the back. I don't care. I'm leaving in a few days. I gotta get my hair cut. I'm going up to Jersey. Gotta be sharp. Gotta be nice and cut. Well, my boy saw me in there, got me in, squeezed me in, did the whole works. So had to give him a good tip.
So is he? You normally go to is he your normal guy, or he was just?
If I remember to set an appointment, yeah, he's like who everybody wants. Like he's 3 weeks booked. Somehow I walked in there and he was able to squeeze me in. I don't know how he did it.
They've been. This inflation business. I used to pay like $12 plus a tip for a haircut. Now I go in there, haircut, beard, tip. I'm paying.
I paid $70 today.
Yeah. Now I'll tell you this. They I don't do this while I'm on the clock, but they serve beer and cigars at my barbershop too. So
Jesus, cigars. How annoying is it? You're blowing smoke.
No,
in
nobody.
The guy's faces.
You can't. You're not in there smoking them. You go outside, and if you're waiting or whatever, you grab a beer and a cigar. But it's pretty high class. Anyway, Murph, you got the sleeveless tuxedo. You look fantastic. I saw you pictures from the weekend. You looked fantastic. How are you?
I couldn't be better, Sprouse. Yeah, I went to a little Christmas party this past weekend. Good friends of mine, and just had a great weekend and getting ready for Christmas. We're flying out on Christmas Day back home to the Bay Area, California. Going to try and hit up San Jose State while I'm down there, but I know they'd be getting probably be getting back shortly before that from the bowl game, and I don't know how many people are going to be around, but I'm going to do my best to get down there and check out the sights and scenes of San Jose, California, the South Bay, and spend time with my family as well. I hadn't been home in 2 years, so get home, see the folks, see the friends, let the kids run around with cousins, and should be a great time. I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm impressed, man. 2 years, huh? Good for you. You're able to go back.
It's tough, man. I mean,
see the old stomping grounds, you know?
Yeah. I mean, there's 5 of us. All 5 of us got to, buy plane tickets now. And the current state of this economy, fuel, and a whole lot of other things, it's a lot of money to fly to the West Coast.
I feel you, Jeff. I had to pay, for 3 plane tickets to Northeast.
Do you have to buy one for the dog? Do you have to?
Buy a plane ticket for Lacey, yeah.
You have to?
Yeah. They used to be service animals, emotional support animals, and you could kind of go around the legal system. Now they've realized that people are taking advantage of that, so now you have to pay. I think it was like $150. I wasn't a full ticket. It was free for my little 5-pound dog to fly.
Well, yeah, you can't. I mean, at least you'll have a whole row to yourselves. That'll be nice. But you can't put her in a little carry-on and put her on the floor.
No, that is for the floor. That's what we paid for. She's going to be in her little carry-on, and she has to go underneath the seat.
Is somebody going to be sitting in your row?
No, luckily we got the seats. That two
You
chairs.
see what I'm saying, though? The airline's just making an extra $100 for nothing.
Well, hell, I'll stick my kids in a carry-on if I could do it for $150.
Dominic,
yeah,
get in.
Anyway,
we've done this in the past, but usually you find a pretty nice flight attendant. They're like, "Oh my god, the dog's cute," and you just kind of just let her sit there with you.
Yeah. Well, I remember when we got Xena, I flew out to Texas to get her and had her just under the seat, but I didn't have to buy a ticket. But I'd be pissed if I'm sitting next to somebody that also bought a ticket for the same seat. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much here. Last but not least, Tyler Tipton, how are you this evening?
I'm doing fantastic. Yeah, had a great weekend. Been really enjoying these bowl games that have been going on so far. You had Marshall with a huge win over UConn today. Yeah. We kind of thought UConn we thought it might be a little closer game, but Marshall pulls away there at the end. And then back on Friday, you had the close, low-scoring game of the UTSA Troy matchup. Amazing game right there. And then Fresno State with the beatdown against Washington State. And then Boise State, North Texas, high-scoring game there. Boise State pulls it out. But, so with the games that have been going on so far, what are y'all most impressed with, team-wise or player performance-wise?
I think there's no – I'll go first.
Yeah.
After watching all the games, and the only game me actually winning money out of was picking Fresno over Washington State. And I did get the over with Boise State, North Texas. I think we all knew that was going to be a high-scoring game. But I had my doubts on Troy. I thought Frank Harris, that offense, was going to be explosive. Granted, I do understand that they had some key players out. But that Troy defense – if they haven't impressed me all year, they definitely did during that performance against UTSA. They played perfect. They played perfect. They were inside Frank Harris's head by the first 5 minutes of the game, in my opinion. They were hitting him all night. They kind of shook him up. They got him a little hurt.
Minus a drop touchdown and a couple questionable calls.
You're right. I don't think Frank Harris had the best. I don't think Frank Harris had the best game.
No, he did. He did not. They did.
And the same thing happened last bowl. I don't know what it is with him in bowl games. He plays phenomenal in the regular season. Then he just he didn't show up for this game. But I think a lot of credit has to go to Troy. Let's not forget, though, Troy's first drive for a touchdown had about 24 penalties against them. Yeah. The referees helped them get back to the ball game. But all in all, Troy, that defense is special. They deserve 12 wins. Heck, they should almost have 13 wins if they could, defend a Hail Mary pass. And I think Ole Miss Rebels would not want to see the Troy Trojans today.
Agreed.
So, congratulations to John Summerall, Evan McKissick. Talk to Evan. Talk to him. He called me that night. I was occupied. I talked to him the next morning. They're just ecstatic. And they were recruiting the next day. So after the game, they're playing messed up. So they had to bus it from Where was that game at? Was it in Orlando?
Orlando.
They went from Orlando to Troy, so they drove all night. They got home around like 8 o'clock in the morning, and then I talked to Evan around like 10 or 10:30. So he's like, "Yeah, man, they had some recruits flying in, so they had host recruits right after. So they're just nonstop working, man."
Well, what a way to start recruiting though after that big win. Yeah, and they're for an early bowl game, it was sloppy. I mean, more so on UTSA's part. Normally, you can kind of expect that if they've had 2-3 weeks off, but that's a quick turnaround. And they just, you're out Cephas, you're out Clark, but they just didn't look like the team we saw in San Antonio. That's for sure.
I don't know about y'all, but I'm pissed that Coach Summerall did not win Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
It gave it to Sonny Dykes, TCU. I mean, let's talk about turnarounds here. How many games did Troy win last year? Was it 2 or 3? Something like that. And he completely turned his program around, 12 wins. I think he should have won.
Sonny Dykes is going to the playoffs after a team that didn't. How many games?
Let's put Troy up against TCU and see.
I'll argue every day on anything.
Yeah. I'll tell you one tip that's going to get forgotten because it was the first bowl game, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but Trey Shropshire at UAB had a monster game right out the gate in the Bahamas. UAB looked pretty damn good. And Trent Dilfer's on the sideline too. Did you see him showing his Super Bowl ring to the cheerleaders? I mean, come on, Trent.
I did.
Yeah, I mean, you come out of high school. Is that why you went to college? You were, I don't know, man. It's like, geez.
Sprouse, real quick, 6 catches, 183 yards, and 1 touchdown for Trey.
We had like a 45-yard catch on the first play of the game because I had him in prize picks on the over, and I was like, oh, got it. 1 play in. But and then Frank Gore Jr. had a monster game. Dude, talk about y'all know I grew up the Miami fan. I'm watching Frank Gore's son play against Sean Taylor's little brother in a bowl game. I was thinking, good God, I am old. But
I mean, that was a hell of a
300 plus rushing yards by him.
Yeah, he's got. I mean, that's got to be like the best performance so far. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and real quick before we get off of it, I mean, Swag briefly mentioned it, but Fresno State, man, they're special. I mean, they're losing a lot this year to graduating Hayner, Moreno Cropper's going into the draft. But, I mean, that offense is just poetry in motion when it's going. And I would have, you never know, but if he doesn't break his ankle in that game, you don't know what could happen. But the hell of a turnaround. He comes back when most doctors were writing him off, saying he was done for the season. Comes back, wins the Mountain West, wins the bowl game. Group of 5 over Power 5, by the way, and just handled them. Absolutely handled them from start to finish.
You were high on Hayner all year, and I think just me being me, I was skeptical and thinking Fresno might be overrated. But you're right. If he never gets hurt, I would just be, do anything to see what kind of season they could actually have. And kind of want to ask this question to the group. Take your group of 5 guy hat off, your bias off. Does Jake Hayner, is he behind – I think Bryce Young will probably be the first quarterback to go. But you think Jake Hayner's probably the second quarterback to go behind him?
Well, third. Well, McElroy said he's probably the 3rd or 4th on the broadcast.
But I think he's going to get – I think he's going to get passed over because he's
USC kid, the Heisman.
Yeah.
Kid.
I thought he was coming back next year. Why is he playing in the bowl game?
I don't know. Maybe
Caleb Wood. Maybe he cares about football.
Maybe the contradictory thing. I'm just surprised that he's actually coming back to play at the bowl game. I thought he couldn't go to the league.
I don't know. I haven't been following him.
I thought that's what McElroy said. And then they're talking about the kid from Kentucky, which I was like,
what's his name? Like Will Levy or something?
Like the same guy.
Which I don't see it. I haven't watched a ton of Kentucky, and I don't think we're in the minority in that. A lot of people. I mean, I know social media is social media, but he didn't have a great season, and then all of a sudden it comes out of nowhere. People are like, Mel Kiper has some tweet or something, and then everybody gets up in arms.
This reminds me of like Zach Wilson, like 2.0 or something. But I mean, Zach's obviously a little more athletic, but yeah, he got a lot of hype coming out of college. And me personally, I was just like, I don't see it. I just don't think it's going to do well in the NFL. And here we are with him struggling with the Jets right now.
I got 2 points on Fresno State. So one, this is a team that started the season 1-4, and yet their crowd kept showing up.
Mm-hmm.
And they finished in the top. I can't remember what they were. 3, I think, in the group of 5 for percent of capacity full. And then 2, this is a perfect example of a guy that's legitimately hurt, has a legitimate reason to not play in the bowl game. But you're telling me that game right there did not help his draft stock? No way. I mean, no way it didn't help him. Yes, sir, Jesse?
I have to get this out there because I was correct. Caleb Williams, he's not eligible for the draft. He's only a sophomore, so he's got to come back next year to play.
Oh, well then.
So that answers that. I mean, I'm just saying, I know we're all for playing your bowl games, but if you're a Heisman winner and potentially number 2 pick and you're not in the playoffs, you're probably not going to play in.
Well, I mean, again, not to keep
that again. You're right
on Power 5, but
playing,
Bryce Young is playing and good.
Good for him. Yeah,
good for him and Will Anderson. I mean, they're going to be. They might go 1 and 2 in the draft.
Bryce probably saw Jay Kaner playing. He's like, oh shit, I got to play my bowl game now because I'm trying to
get drafted over me.
Yeah,
exactly. But no, I think McElroy was saying he's going to get knocked because he's a little small.
Yeah.
And then of course,
I think he'll get the typical Group of 5 biased against him, which will hurt him. And they'll end up taking some SEC scrubs over him.
But he's going to the Senior Bowl, and so hopefully
so is Carlton Martial, ain't that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he is.
That's right.
I mean, I'd like to. I mean, I'm not going to toot our horn a bunch, but I feel like we started that movement. I mean, because he wasn't going, we tweeted it out. A bunch of other people tweeted it out, and the Reese's Senior Bowl made the decision while he was in Orlando.
Let me also say this about Carlton Martial. I don't think he got the spotlight that he should have gotten all year. Example, when game day went to App State, they really didn't talk about Carlton Martial. They didn't talk about Carlton Martial when he really broke the tackling record. But for this bowl game, there was a spotlight on him, and they talked about him a lot. So, good for the bowl. I think it might have been ESPN. So thank you for finally acknowledging this young man. But what I was most impressed with the spotlight on him, the guy still had an abundant tackles, played lights out. So I was really proud to say, usually I was like, oh God, please don't miss a tackle, but he had an excellent game.
Yeah. Well, we got to move on. It is amazing how much better the product looks when ESPN puts their, A or B announcers on the game. They got the good broadcast. They got all the camera angles. I mean, the games just look better. The players just look better. Everything looks, I don't know, but, we got to move on. Let's go to the Swag Bear Atrocious Award. Then we got some voicemails, and then we will get into the 12 days of Christmas. Jeff, cue it in.
It's atrocious. It's atrocious.
If you don't mind, Swag Bear, I may take this one as I've been doing a lot of Christmas shopping. We are hosting a Christmas party. Not a Christmas party, but we're hosting the family for Christmas. We're hosting a New Year's Eve extravaganza. In the Sprouse household, I have been in a lot of retail stores.
Inflation isn't atrocious. I agree.
That is bad. The self-checkout lane. This is a product that was created by some of the smartest engineers that the US of A has to offer. I mean, we're talking Gates, Musk, Jobs. It is used by some of the dumbest that the US of A has to offer. The self-checkout, it is in the name, self-checkout. This is not a lane for you to go with your month's worth of groceries from Walmart, and you don't even know how to use the damn machine. This is for the guy that walks in there, maybe gets a basket, maybe he doesn't even have a cart. He's got 2 or 3 items, boop, boop, swipes the card. He's in and out of the store in 5 to 10 minutes. This is not for the miserable sumbitch that just doesn't want to communicate with another human being. So they take I got overflowing carts with I thought it was like one of the Walmart return carts sitting in there. It was overflowing with the most random toys, foods, sodas. And they're scanning it. There's no room left on the thing. There's no room in their cart, so they're putting it on the floor behind them. You got 40 people backed all the way up the damn aisle, and it's every store. It's Walmart's the worst, but it's Publix too. It's Target. I mean, I don't say a lot of things to people. I've been in customer service a long time, but I'm like, can we put a sign up that says this is for 2 or 3 items max, not your $300 grocery bill, is not for the self-checkout. Go wait in line, and talk to a human being, it's atrocious. It's
atrocious. It's atrocious.
Sprouse, if you don't mind, if I could piggyback off of that.
I'd love
What
it.
really bothers me is when, and part of it's just because Walmart figured out, we can cut, labor here and only have 2 checkout lanes open.
Yeah.
And we're going to push everybody else through self-checkout. And then I'm going to now stick somebody at the door on the way out to check receipts. I'm sorry. If you're going to make me check out my own groceries, I'm not getting paid to do it. I'm walking right by the receipt person. Like, you're not going to make me check my own groceries out, and then you want to sit there and check my basket to make sure I didn't steal anything. I don't get paid for this. I was not trained to use a scanner. What if I happen to miss 1 or 2 or 4? That's not my fault. Put somebody either to check it out or stop checking receipts at the door.
I agree with that. They've done that at Sam's and Costco, too. They've added self-checkout, and they've always had the guy checking the receipt at the door. But, it was like, so I literally had 1 roll. I forgot. I had 1 roll of wrapping paper, and I waited like 35 minutes because Jackass has their whole family. They got a kid sitting in the kids part. They got another kid on the damn bottom of the cart sitting there. They got another kid screaming. They got 26 2-liters of Coke and Diet Coke in the thing. I'm like, dude, don't come at prime time too.
The Walmart over here, you have to do self-checkout. So it might be different by you, but like at our Walmart, they have like 30 everybody has their full buggies. Now, I don't really go to Walmart that often because I think Walmart in general is atrocious. But if you go to Publix and stuff, they'll have the signs and stuff saying, hey, you have to be at only 10 items or less, whatever. But Costco, you brought up Costco. I go in there just to go. I was going to cook my wife a nice meal one night.
Go in there and get a hot dog for $1.50.
No, I go that. Well, damn it, I did that too. So I went in there to buy the rack of lamb like I did last year. Bought rack of lamb. Then I had to go buy like some bread, and then I had to buy like some dishwashing detergent. So boom. So here I am like this. Then I was like, all right, I'm gonna be sweet. I'm gonna go get me a hot dog. Gotta get a hot dog. Costco hot dog. It's great. Air bubble. And then I also got Michaela a slice of cheese pizza. So granted, imagine rack of lamb, dishwashing detergent, and bread. And now I'm holding a piece of pizza and a hot dog. And I'm like, this is so stupid. Like, I don't have a buggy. And I'm walking out. And then here he is, the freaking Costco general, standing there with his freaking red Sharpie. And he's just like, sir. Literally the detergent's falling out of my hands. He's like, what all you got there? I was like, a lot, enough. And I told him, I was like, it's lamb, it's detergent, it's dishwashing. Can we go? And he literally stopped me and counted everything I had. He don't have the receipt for the hot dog, and he looked for the damn hot dog. Costco, after that one day, I was like, this, they're getting ridiculous with this. If you go to Costco, you probably ain't gonna steal anything from there. They sound bad.
That's actually, I mean, I don't mean to correct you, but that's really false. They have like really, really bad theft at those places. not to get too factual on you, but I'm with you. I'm with you. You can see what you got in your hands. It's like, I get the guy that's got, he's got a bunch of cheap stuff piled on top of a TV, and they're trying to make sure when they scan the TV, it's on the receipt. But
if we're gonna play that game, I may or may not have gotten away with some purchases before from Costco.
If you go to Walmart, you don't steal. I've stolen, but
when you sell, I mean, sometimes if you're rolling that cart just right, I don't know, forget it. I can't remember.
Did Swagbear just go on a tangent about these people working?
No, I can't remember how it happened. I think I was.
How do you live with yourself?
It was like 2 or 3 years ago. I was at Costco. I bought like 3 racks of regular ribs, and I went through the regular checkout line.
It's ribs. It's lamb. It's ribs.
She checked me out for 2 racks instead of 3, and in my head I'm thinking like, well, I guess that's your job. And I said, let's see what happens here. And then when I got to the receipt line, he was like, it wasn't the general this time. He's like, okay, looks good. Have a good day, sir. I was like, that's $22 I just saved. Granted, I might be wanted now. It happens.
My sweet mother worked at Costco for 45 years, and you just cost her a paycheck because of that.
Whatever.
Hey, anyway,
I
Jeff,
deserved it.
we got a couple voicemails, so we gotta move on here for this show. Hotline 615. I don't even remember the phone number. 900-4286. You guys call the hotline. Leave your hottest take. Christmas. Give us your Christmas stories for the next episode. That'd be exciting. Jeff, let's go ahead and hit those.
Yeah, let's get right to them. Keep them coming in. Same thing, hottest takes after the bowl game if your team wins or loses like we have this week. And, Sprouse, I'm with you. I'd love to hear a couple good Christmas stories while we're on break here. But let's just get right to it. We only got 3 tonight. Start off with our boy Zachary Branner after the bowl game.
Well, how about that? This is your boy, Troy Trojan, Zachary Branner. Putting a period to the season right here. You know, how about that, man? That defense, lights out. Lights out. 18 unanswered points. You know, shout out to Richard Jubador. That motherfucker played his ass off. A strip sack, an interception. You know, I couldn't have been more proud of a Troy defense in school history than the one that I watched tonight and play all season long. Hands down. September 17th, 2022 was our turning point. That was the last time I called in on a loss because, we were finishing the season on an 11-game win streak. But I cannot be more grateful than a play that happened that took 2 seconds to beat us. It sucked. It was horrible to watch. But my God, at the turning point that did for us. Shout out to Stu's, right? So I actually want to shout you out too, sir. But thank you for that. That's not a bashing point for you. App State struggled this year. I don't know why. They have all that damn talent. But holy at my Troy Trojans. Gosh damn it. Man, I love this season. Won Troy all the way. Happy as man. I'm going to be calling the off season. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for all you do. Like, one Troy, baby. That's right.
I mean, I'd be pretty fired up too if my team had that type of season. Absolutely incredible. Swag. What?
I don't even know what to say. Just Merry fucking Christmas.
Well, that one didn't get bleeped.
Oh no,
we live.
Just do it live.
Bleep that one when you put it on there.
Nah, they
you can do that, right?
Believe it. I can, but I like it better.
I don't give a dang.
Appreciate you, Zach. Appreciate you calling all year.
Yeah,
you had a great season,
yeah.
So you deserve it.
Yeah. All right, and let's get to our next one. This was Lewis, a UTSA fan, after the loss.
Hey, group of 5 guys, how's it going? Lewis calling in for the 3rd time this year. Going to try to keep track of how many times I call in just to bookmark how long I follow the show. I'm a disappointed Roadrunner fan after this past weekend, fellas. I'm not going to lie to you. After traveling all the way to the tourist trap of Orlando, got our dignities ripped out of our asses. I'd like to personally give an atrocious award to those referees that rigged the game, of course. Just kidding. Not really. All jokes aside, props to the Trojans' defense. Y'all's offense sucks and is boring, but can't argue a loss when you turn the ball over 5 times and don't score a single point in the second half. Not to mention the absolute terrible play calling from our new OC. Anyways, already looking forward to the next season in the American. Maybe hopefully we can get rid of this damn bowl game curse we have. Would be nice to possibly land an NY6, but based off the way that we always play in the postseason, I think we'd be better off spending our travel funds to upgrade some of our facilities. Also, just wanted to get y'all's input on a thought that dawned on me this past weekend. Now, I'm not one to bash an individual on socials, but after many urges I had this past weekend, and a particular UTSA fan that I saw was getting dragged by others after voicing his opinion on our players. I actually read his reasoning. It was as followed. Considering these kids are now getting paid very well for what they do, is it fair to start holding them accountable? I mean, technically it's their job, and like us, if we don't perform to the standards at work, someone rips our asses. Now, we aren't technically their bosses, but if I'm donating to an NIL foundation for these kids, I think it's only fair that donors get an input. if y'all could just comment on that, I'd appreciate it. Just kind of wanted to get some additional input so I can generate which side that I'm on. It's been a hell of a season. Honestly, going to be looking forward to next season in the American. It's going to be fun. Talent's going to be different. A lot more obstacles that we're going to have to overcome as a team and as a fan base. I just wanted to give a shout out to the players and coaches on another CUSA championship. It was a hell of a season. Merry Christmas, God bless, and birds up.
Appreciate it, Lewis. Fantastic call. Interesting question, guys.
He has a point.
What do y'all think? What do y'all think?
I think
Yes.
you all know where I'm at on that.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the big problems with NIL. I mean, every time an NFL player bitches about something, always the feedback is, that's why you get paid. That's why you get paid so much money. You're entertainment for the fans, so the fans have the right to say whatever they want to say, within reason. That's why they're giving these kids too much money, man, because they are kids.
It's no more, come at me. I'm a man. I'm 40. No, this guy's got 40 grand just for this season, so I can say what I want about him. If I want to put a turd on his doorstep, I'll drop a turd on his doorstep. Secondly,
Poop again.
UTSA, Jeff, I think you can relate to this. When I bet on a college football team to win a football game and cover the spread, for 2 to 3 hour span, I'm the biggest damn fan of that team this side of the Dixie. So I was there. I was a UTSA born and bred for that 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock margin. And I felt it for him. I know exactly what he's talking about when he says the referee screwed that team, because there were 4 to 5 atrocious calls on that one drive that led to Troy scoring. So, yeah, UTSA deserves to be salty and say, well, the referees helped them, because they kind of did.
Yeah, I mean, you can't ever count on the referees. I mean, that's just one thing that you can't account for. You never know which way how they're going to call it until you get into the game and see the flow of it. But I think the bigger thing is they just didn't once their other 2 top receivers. We knew one of them wasn't starting, the other one goes out. And you had Zachary Franklin was really the only – nobody else stepped up. I mean, you had multiple drops. I cannot think of the kid's name. One was for a touchdown. They scored that touchdown. Now they're up, and their defense was playing really, really well, I thought, against Troy's offense, who really wasn't having a great night. So he catches that touchdown. They're up. Maybe they hold them and they get that win. It's just you just didn't have anybody else that really – really stepped up, and Frank Harris he was taking shots. I mean, that's probably one of the best defenses, Power 5, Group of 5 in the country, right there, stopping one of the most potent offenses in the country. So I mean, it was just a great game. Yeah, the refs definitely played a role, but I mean, you can't count on them. They're going to let you down more times than not.
Sort of as we're going, I'm thinking about this, dragging the players on social media, and I'm almost changing my opinion just thinking about it. If you mess up at work for your job, yes, you are held accountable, but not publicly crushed by thousands and thousands of people. Now, if you're talking about a player playing bad, he is held accountable by his boss or his coach or his teammates. So there's that. And also another point to that is the guys in the NFL, I know this is my point, but the guys in the NFL, like, that is their only job. So these guys, these players, they're still theoretically going to class, doing the student thing. They're still having a lot more on their plate. But yeah, I don't know. I changed my tune a little bit on that just as we were going, just thinking about, if I don't close a sale, they don't drag me on Twitter for 3 days. But
I think there's levels to it.
Yeah,
if
sure.
it's a guy that's only getting 10 to 15 grand, yeah, he's still a kid technically. With inflation, that's like $100. So it's not exactly that much money. But if this is Bryce Young in Alabama and he throws 5 interceptions and I'm a big donor that's been putting $250,000 in his pocket, I think I deserve to say something.
Even so, though, like, it's called donating for a reason. You're willingly giving your money. So Now, if you wanted it with strings attached, that's not donating. And do we want to get into these situations like Auburn where the donors are running the school? I don't think so. I do it. I willingly give my money to the program, to these players, to the NIL fund, hoping to better those players so they can have a little bit easier in their personal life, or they can give it to their family, like whatever they choose to do with that money. Like, I'm willingly giving my hard-earned dollars for them with the only expectation, and this is more from the university standpoint, that you take care of your business, hosting the game, making sure the atmosphere is good, and we'll get into a lot of this when we do got to get to that. But as far as the players goes, like I'm giving my money to try and help them out because I was in that spot.
Let's go to the next voicemail. We can go on NIL.
Yeah.
Maybe next episode will be just NIL because
a lot to go about it. But appreciate it, Lewis. As always, hope we answered your question a little bit and gave some insight, at least from our perspective. Last caller, our boy Steeple _PC_51.
Hey, Group of Five guys, how you doing? This is Steeple _PC_51. Just want to give a quick shout out. We might as well say just like a dead period, except for the bowl games. I want to give a shout out to Zach and those Troy. Amazing season. Finishing off with a bowl game, Sun Belt Championship. Congratulations, dude. Rest of the Sun Belt, hope they do well. I'm playing in the ESPN bowl series right now. I'm 7-2, and no, I'm sorry, I'm 8-1. My one loss was at Jackson State. Gosh, I've been undefeated. But just want to say a couple of things. One, I was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, so I'm a diehard Eagles fan. So that's another plus for Bear. Got that one. Two, hey you guys, hey man, give me a shout out when y'all do your fantasy football. I've been playing fantasy football for about 16 years with the family, and I've won 5 out of the 16 years. I just got knocked out of the playoffs this weekend. My cousin, she from New York, she beat me this week. God, in the semifinal. So I'm not gonna be the champion this year, but I would love to get in your league and dominate you guys like I do my family. So, thirdly, appreciate the forum, loving everything. My son's still up in the air. And about the Marshall guy, maybe he hasn't declared. For some reason, somebody told me about, check the rules that you have to declare whether you're finished with school or when you can go to the pros and stuff like that for the guys to pick you. Because Hulu was on, they did a bid on my son, and he hasn't declared or said what he was going to do for next year. So that's why they hadn't sent him his invite. That's what someone told me. Anyway, God bless you guys. God bless the Sun Belt. God bless Group of Five and the rest of you clown conferences. And see you in Conway. Well, Mobile, Alabama first. Ha.
Appreciate it, Steve, as always, man.
I'm on my 4th flight right now, by the way.
I love Steeple's idea. I feel like we should get a Group of 5 guys like fantasy football league.
I agree.
Start that next season. I love that idea.
Only a select few. Live draft at the annual golf tournament.
Now we're talking, Sprouse.
No, man. That's interesting about declaring. I mean, I don't know, because I think a lot of Troy people were also wondering why, and I feel like they would have known whether or not he declared, but
he got it. So
yeah, he's in now. So that was a pretty cool deal. So Jeff, if you want to hit a Southern Roots radio commercial, and then we're going to get into the 12 days of Christmas, brought to you by the Group of 5 guys.
Absolutely. So we partner with our guys over at Southern Roots Radio. You can find them at southernrootsradio.com, at Southern Roots Radio on the social media outlets. And, man, just great, fantastic music. They play our show Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Central Time, Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. Central Time. And it's connecting the storytelling and twang from Classic Music Row, the grit and blues from Beale Street, and the rhythm and soul coming out of the Singing River and Muscle Shoals. So go check them out. Fantastic music. Great people over there, and they support us. We want to support them.
Sorry, I got a llama in my screen there.
I was trying to have some couth there. I was letting him do his 5-star commercial. The guy's gotten hella good at doing some ads. And I didn't want to mess it up. Sorry,
What is going on over there?
Well, up in here in this room, it kind of gets a little hot. I get swamp ass to the tea, and I had to stand up and grab me another beer out of my mini fridge, and my butt gets stuck in this chair. I had the worst setup out of all four of you.
Well, there's something about that, Grisham. You can change your setup.
Yeah.
No, I don't have a.
I mean, yeah, I don't think he's had enough time. We've only been doing it for 2 years, so
I don't have a place to put all this crap. I would love to have.
What do you mean you don't have a place to put all?
I need a better chair. I want a good chair, a better desk. But I don't have.
I am literally my stuff is on a glass Walmart desk that I bought circa 2009, my first year at middle, and it's a chair that I got off of a Curb Alert for my HOA Facebook page, and I snagged it. There's no armrest. It's fallen halfway. Somehow, I manage to not make noises all
For God's sakes, I'm in my closets, boys. Got my shirts here, my jeans over here. You can't see it. I hide it well.
You're the only guy that's in like a man cave, like your own thing. I'm in my room I'm currently in is taken over by Christmas.
I'm not complaining about the setting and ambiance. I'm just complaining about this. I'm just complaining to complain.
There it is. Thank you. Now we can move on.
Guys,
Guys,
12 days of Christmas.
12 days of Christmas for the college football fan. This is what your athletic department can give to you. I put this together. This was really like the Matt Sprouse Christmas list. I went over to the Peachtree Mall here, Columbus, Georgia. Santa, fake beard. He was skinny. Really, really disappointed. But I gave him this list. So let's see. Number one on the first day of Christmas, my athletic department can give to me, simple one, winning. Most important thing to getting fans engaged, you got to have a winning team. It's probably the hardest one to actually do, but you got to do it. It starts that way. You guys got any thoughts on that?
I would think that the other days that you have after winning are what's going to contribute to the winning.
Well, and yes, and then it's not just winning; it's winning at home, it's winning back to back. It's domino wins, and it's also winning at home against the brand names. So when you do get that Power 5 school to come to your town, that's the game you got to win. You think about. This is going to be a lot of Middle Tennessee experiences. Georgia Tech comes to Murfreesboro, the biggest crowd in Johnny Red history, and they beat our ass. The following year, we go to Atlanta and beat their ass.
Mm-hmm.
Would have meant a lot more for the people that came to that game in Murfreesboro if we beat them at home.
Going back to just winning, I'm going to try to be as serious as possible on this because I know sometimes people think that I'm just a joke and a heckler and a smart aleck and a Grinch. When it comes to winning, I think it's very simple and what coaches have to just get through their players. I was talking to Sprouse about this earlier. It's the little things. Think about all the petty defensive penalties we've seen in the bowl games already in 1 week. The late hits, the hit out of bounds, the holding penalties, the jabbering of your mouth, smacking your gums, the holding penalties on the offensive line, the offsides false starts. I could go on and list, but if you limit your penalties throughout the season, I am willing to bet my 401k you gain at least 1 or 2 more wins just by playing smart. Just playing smart.
I agree, and this is the one thing, the main thing on this list that the team, the coach, and the players can actually contribute to, or do contribute to, and these other things are going to lead to, in my opinion, a winning team. Second day of Christmas, an environment catered to the students. And then I say this, I mean especially catered to the Greeks. And I say this, I mean the in-game environment, the music selection, the songs that the band plays, the tailgate experience. We talk about Louisiana all the time on this show. It's one of, in our day, it's one of the toughest group of 5 schools to play in. Why? Their students are right on top of you. They're there. They're loud. They're active. I don't know if it's a coincidence, but this year they apparently kicked the Greeks out of the stadium. Well, doesn't seem like that tough of a place to play anymore. Guys, thoughts?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Sprouse. I mean, the fans are going to show up and be loyal, and it's a long-term play too, because if I'm a student and I go to a football game and I have a great time, guess what? When I graduate, I want to go back because I remember all the great times that I had. And those are the ones that are going to be the loudest, the most rowdy, the most, trash talking to the other team, because most of the time they are right behind the opposing bench. And no offense to the bigger donors, but a lot of the times the bigger donors, they're in their suites. They're in the nice box with the fancy catered meals and the food. Like, they don't really care how loud it is. They don't care what music is being played. The students care. The Greeks care. And those are the ones that are going to give you that home field advantage more times than not. They're going to be there when there's 6, inches, 8 inches, whatever, of snow in the MAC that's fallen.
That's right.
Those kids are going to be there with no shirts on and their chest painted. Cater to those kids. Make it fun for those kids to come. Some type of incentive, and they're going to show up and show out and give you that home field advantage. Because we always say, if you have a home field advantage, that's a 4 to 6 point swing, possibly, maybe even more.
I stick with what I said, 4 or 5 episodes ago. Probably the smartest thing I've ever said on this show. And Jeff hit on right there, incentives. I don't think you can just go and tell a frat at MTSU or Georgia State or, give me another, Miami, Ohio. I'm just throwing out random teams here to make them just overnight go to the games. But if you have a deal with the athletic department, you're going to give back to that number one Greek. Hey, whichever fraternity or sorority goes to the games the most, and you can keep up with that. You can track who gets scanned into the games. That sorority or fraternity, they're rewarded with something. I'm not saying it's going to be a keg party, maybe, but you can also provide like furniture or upgrade the provide money to upgrade their sorority houses, fraternity houses. Something simple like that is the first step to getting where you need to be.
And then I think it was somebody in the MAC did it on a Tuesday night game. They awarded like a $10,000 scholarship to a student, but they had to be there, and they awarded it in the fourth quarter, so they had to stay. It's not just come in, scan your thing, and then leave after the first quarter or leave after halftime. And so on the third day of Christmas, and this is going to they all kind of have to deal with each other. This is an in-game atmosphere. Point on this. I mean, fill the seats. Don't just sell tickets. Okay? So I mean, put butts in the seats. Don't go to your local insurance company or your giant corporate office and sell them 10,000, company tickets, and none of those people show up so you can talk about your attendance record. I mean, get people there. I don't care if it's free. I don't care if you drag their asses in there. Fill the stadium, because you know what's going to happen? It's going to be louder. Those students that are there are going to have more fun, and they're going to think, that was a hell of a time. Let's do it again next week. And then it's going to that was a hell of a time. And then guess what's going to happen? That team's going to win that home game against that Power 5 school. And then what? That was a hell of a lot of fun. Let's go again. And now everybody, it's a little bit more exclusive. Everybody wants to go. Now people that live in the community that maybe are young alumni, whatever, they're going to want to come, and they'll buy the damn tickets, and they'll go to the game. Swag.
Sprouse, now your band directors quit because it's too loud.
Well, they need
Listen,
to get a new band director.
As much as we give this particular band director a time, like, they're part of it, though.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying you got to play 21 Savage on repeat for 4 hours, but maybe not the Star Wars theme on repeat for 4 hours. Mix it up a little bit. Hey, it's third down. Let's get us something different. Let's get Mo Bamba. Let's get the students that are like, oh, I've heard this song before, and let's not play some 70s rock song that none of these kids have even heard of. Let's
turn the volume up. Let's get it amped up in the stadium. Like that's what gets it going. That's what gets Like that's what gets the fans and stuff.
Tip,
Just,
that
you
was
know,
one of the
Speaking
best
volume, Tip, Jesus Christ.
Tip with the effects of putting his volume up to make the damn point right there. Incredible.
Lord,
That's exactly right.
Spit my beer out. You scared the hell
That's
out
right.
of me.
But that's right. It's got to be loud. And again, it's for the players and it's for the students. This is a college football game. And you know what else, dude? As much as they may complain about music, the older folks that might be boosters and donors, I can tell you what is probably more important to them than what songs they hear is seeing a good product and seeing a full stadium. And you know how like we get lucky enough to sit in some boxes.
I was just going to say, they can't hear it anyway. They're in a box anyway.
You're damn right. And when you look across and you look at the student section and it's full, you're like, hell yeah, good crowd. And when it's empty, you're like, ooh. That sucks.
It needs to hear, I got hoes calling a young phone. You gotta play that on third down, not just like me not be no. You gotta get some real music going here.
Is exactly right. Any other thoughts on that before I go on to day number 4?
I was just gonna say real quick, you can walk and chew bubblegum and say you can appeal to those kids, the students. You can do everything. You can have a nice section with the blow-ups for the kids, for the families that want to come and spend time. Offer a deal at the concession stand where it's a family pack, where you're not having to buy 4 or 5 hot dogs. Like it's all a bulk deal. Like there's so many things you can do to appeal to different target markets where I feel like they just kind of get a little bit lazy and they just do this one thing. It's like, You can do everything, man. You can have this section, and do it all together. And the biggest thing, Sprouse, like you said, people don't care what you're playing if they see a good time. And more importantly, they don't care really what's going on as long as you're winning.
That's right.
Some universities are just like, I pressure wash the stadium. What else do they want? Let's clean.
Well,
most of them don't even do that.
Wait until we get to day number 12, my friend. Speaking of pressure washing, that has been up my ass for 15 years about pressure washing. But hey, on the 4th day, my athletic department gave to me people that care. Now, I know that we're in a world where we outsource everything. A lot of college athletic departments, they go with Learfield or with one of these other ones. That does not mean, when I say this, people that care, I mean you got to have people in the athletic department that have a vested interest in the growth of your program. Did they go to school there? Did they grow up there? Is their family from there? Or did you hire somebody from California that's got decent ticket sales numbers and say, oh, you can do this in Tennessee or you can do this in Georgia? It's different, man. It's about relationships like we always talk about. I don't want to tell you a little story, but you don't want to have somebody that comes in there that's not from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, or didn't go to Middle Tennessee State and just starts picking up the phone and dialing numbers out of the yellow pages, trying to sell a couple of tickets to some company. Have somebody that cares, that gives a crap, involved, that has a finger on the pulse of the community and of the students.
Yeah, well, I'll say this too, Sprouse. I don't think it's an absolute requirement. It definitely helps if you went to school there, are from there, but you have to take the time if you are not from there to go out and build the relationships.
Yes.
Because if you just cold call people, you're going to get nothing. People want to see, they're much, more likely to want to contribute, want to be a part of something bigger than themselves, greater than themselves. When you go out and have a conversation, shake a hand, talk to them, say, hey, this is what's going on. I think that's a huge, huge deal.
I think that, though I do agree parts of what Jeff said, I do, though, think that an AD or somebody high up in that department, I think they need to be a previous student or a former coach. And we've dogged this team all year after year. But I'm going to give a shout out to Tennessee Volunteers, bringing Phil Fulmer in as their AD. That fits their culture. That's what and that's going to help that program. Now I know that I know Jeff over here just gritted his teeth.
Well, no,
I think even a Wes Holfacker at MT, he's over the
varsity club.
The varsity club. That's huge. That's and it's helped.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying the guy that's there right now can't get the job done, but we'll. I think experience or former players is a great thing for a athletic department.
All I was going to say, Grish, real quick, is if you can, I absolutely think that you should. I just think it's so hard. There's not enough of them numbers wise to get them all. But now if you can, absolutely go get them. Ones that played there, went to school there. I mean, look at, my on the radio, my coach Chip Walters. That guy's been so invested in MTSU football or sports in general. Like, he loves it, and you can tell it comes to all of his broadcasts. Everything he does, he bleeds blue. Like, that's what it's about. If you can get a guy like that, absolutely. I just think it's hard to. It's just hard. It's hard to do. It's hard to find them.
I know we're pressed with time here, but how awesome would it be if some way, somehow, Rick Stockstill retires, and if he was the new athletic director for MTSU? That would be phenomenal.
Probably will be.
I'm just saying. Not to say that what's going on there is doing a terrible job. I'm saying, like, that's an example, like Phil Fulmer for Tennessee. I think Rick Stockstill would be a great fit for that as an athletic director somewhere.
Well, yeah, because he has his finger. He knows what the current players are thinking. He knows what his former players think. He knows the community. He's been there. Yeah. Like you said, Jeff, if you're not an alum or you're not a former player or coach or whatever, you've got to make that effort to, from day one, get out there and learn what it's like to be from there or to be a part of that community. Number 5 goes into the same thing. Relationships. This is players and coaches amongst the community, amongst their classmates, with students, with teachers, with alumni. We talked, I know he's been fired, but nobody does this better than Will Healy does this. And damn it, that's why them students were at those games, even for a mediocre team. So, I mean, it's boots on the ground. It's not mass emails and cold calls, man. It's handshakes. It's lunches. It's, for the players, man, it's going to class. I'm not saying you got to sit in the front row, but it's go to class, participate, take your headphones off, wear something other than sweatpants and a wife beater and slippers. Go in there and participate. And, for the coaches, like, man, when you go to the sports bar or whatever for the show, like, talk to people, shake their hand, get out, make them. If somebody likes you and has a relationship with you, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier for them to show up and cheer for you. And it's going to be a hell of a lot harder for them to come calling for your head when things aren't going quite as well. Thoughts? I hit them. Perfect.
No,
I'm on it.
I think you're spot on. I was waiting to see if somebody else was going to jump in, but
I'm honestly looking to see if Will Healy's looking to go anywhere yet. I was seeing if there's any rumor mills where he's going to try to land. If I'm just being transparent, that's what I was looking at.
No, you're good. I mean, I'm with you, Sprouse. I couldn't agree more. And this one thing he told us when we sat with him in his office, it's especially students. If they feel like they know the starting running back or the starting quarterback or the linebacker, like, now they feel like they have a friend on the team, and I'm gonna go and I want to go watch him. We have
like
math
high
class
school
together. Yeah. We have math class together. I want to go see, I want to support him. It creates that additional relationship that player might not have had, and it sheds a light on us as athletes, because a lot of people think that we're just spoiled and a bunch of jackasses and we don't deserve this and that. But man, when you just talk to somebody, a student or somebody in the community, like, wow, like, he's actually a really awesome dude. I want to go support him. I want to go watch him, and it just creates that extra layer of commitment.
And think about the snowball here of a kid that's a really good student. So that teacher and those people that are in those classes with that student are like that. They support the guy they want to go. But then the teacher says, man, these football players or these athletes are great kids. They're great students. Now this professor's telling every class, hey, guys, football game Saturday, I hope I can see everybody at the tailgate, or hope I see you guys at the game or whatever. I'm just saying they got to give extra credit or any of that stuff, but they're promoting it. They're promoting the brand.
Sprouse, that's a perfect example, because my wife is a professor at MTSU, and she said the same exact thing. She was like, I have football players that are in my class, and the fact that they show up and like they engage and they try, like, it makes me want to help them. It makes me want to tell people about, like, I just love this kid. Go and support him in my other engineering classes. Yep. So it's just so much that, other than just I'm going to show up and not just do my thing. No, you got to be well rounded. You got to open it up.
Well, and from the player's responsibility, it goes the opposite way too. Now, if you show up, you're late every day, and I know we all know guys that were like this. If you're late every day, or you're sitting in the back, or you're on the phone, or you got your headphones on, or you're just a crap student, and then coaches. If we want to keep calling this amateurism and student athlete, hold their asses accountable for going to class like we're supposed to do. I don't. All I know is my ass went to class. Sat next to Swag Bear in a few classes.
I took pride in it. I actually took pride in trying to be, that poster football player, poster child. Like, I'm going to go to class. I'm going to have a relationship with my teachers and professors because I know that you have some of those guys that are going to give you a bad look.
Yep.
I hated that when Jeff mentioned the assumption of how football players are, that we're given everything. No, I studied. I had to take all these classes. I had to make sure I passed all these tests, or I wasn't going to be playing no bowl game. So I agree with you 1,000%. And then when other students, I was actually friends with a lot of students in these classes. One, I had a pretty good personality, but I would like to say that I probably brought in 4 or 5. And I know that sounds like a low number. It's a low number, but I'll guarantee 4 or 5 people throughout my tenure at MTSU, they're like, "Oh, okay, let's go to the MTSU game."
Well, hey, 4 or 5 people times, with red shirts, walk-ons, everything, 120, 130 guys times 4 years.
Yeah. It's the coaching classes, the ones that the players that don't really go to class.
I was like, I'm with you. I was like embarrassed. Like,
I just love looking at Jeff. Jeff just like, I'm just being honest, man. I'm being real. If you go to these coaching classes, you're gonna have. I
never had any of those.
No, I didn't either.
Yeah, it was one of your I took 2 or 3 of them. It was your EZA classes,
liberal studies degree.
Yeah, you take them in the summertime and stuff. you have guys walk in.
Talk about Juvenile. Wasn't he a coaching class or no?
No, listen, Dr. Jubenville.
Which one was he?
So he taught.
Is that the people?
No.
You don't know.
I can't remember that guy's. That was like recreational sports, but no, Jubenville taught us sportsman. I took one of his sports management master's classes, but he's tight, dude.
You never had to take a coaching class? I would have 4 or 5 business classes, and then I would be like, they give you one. Like I did basketball and I did a baseball class one time. You just had to show up. But some guys, it was just possible for them to even show up for the class. And then when it came for exam, and they were still trying to figure out. Like,
it's so embarrassing, isn't it? It's like it's so embarrassing to be like, yep, they're gonna get the same degree as me. Yes, they are on my team. Yes.
No, that's not the same degree as you. They didn't get.
No, yeah. Fortunately for us, most of the business students were pretty good. We got to move on. So number 6 on the 6th day is creating a spectacle. Now, I say this, I mean a huge entrance. What's a big pregame, a concert, a big halftime thing, a fourth quarter thing? We all know it. Virginia Tech, right? Wisconsin jumping around. Iowa's waving at the Children's Hospital. People go to the game regardless of how good or bad those teams is, simply to see this thing. Swag, you all right?
And we play. Tell me if this is a good idea, Jeff. Every MTSU football game, the team is about to run out, and lights just go blue, and you just hear, "I'm blue, I'm a did, I'm a die, I'm a blue, I'm blue."
Something.
I think
it's better
and the student section's jumping, and the music's blasting, the lights are all blue, and then the team jumps out. I'm getting chill just thinking about it.
I know.
And then when ESPN's there, you have everybody's dressed like the Blue Man Group. And we're Blue Raiders, but we're blue, damn it. And we're going to take that blue. Or you can use that new song, like, "I'm going to have the best freaking night of my life." You can use the new version. That is what MTSU needs to do. I'm fired up thinking about this.
I am right there with you on that. Something that's a spectacle. We said it about UTSA.
Yeah.
The lights go out. Everybody pulls out their cell phones. They play. I don't even remember what song it was, but it was some like 80s rock song that they played.
Dope.
It was tight. Yeah. Everybody got into it. Everybody, you know what? We remember the students even, they're like, we got to go in games at 6. We got to be in our seats by 5. So you get them in there. They're there all game. They're there for kickoff. You got to have, I liken it to this, right? Because I'm a South Florida guy, and everybody used to always ask me, like, oh, is it a Dolphins town? Is it a Heat town? Dude, it is an event town. Whichever one is going to be the biggest spectacle, that's what people are going to go to. And it's like that everywhere, but especially in your major markets.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm right there with you, Sprouse and Tip. I mean, you remember that atmosphere down in San Antonio. I mean, it was if I was somebody who didn't even follow football or wasn't really a football fan, I could go to a Roadrunner game at the Alamo Dome and have a great time and not even really know what was going on just because the atmosphere was cracking. There were so many things to do. It was nice. I mean, food was good. Beer was cold. Like, everything. It was just –
you know what happens? Like, I find myself, okay, in certain games that don't have the best atmosphere is you find yourself between plays, like kind of looking at the time. You're like, man, this is a long game. And games where it's just nonstop. You don't even take your eyes off the field or off at least like the jumbo. There's something going on. And then you look up and you're like, oh, damn, this is halftime. Yeah. Let me go take a pee. Like, I haven't even had time to think about this thing. And but that's the ones that do it. Or what do you do after a win? Do you have fireworks? It's just something, and it's got to be you do it every single Saturday night. And this ties into the seventh day. This is tradition, okay? And this is harder to do for the younger programs, but you look at places like we talked about Eastern Michigan. They run through the damn brick wall. It's stupid. Texas A&M, their little midnight thing is one of the corniest things in all of sports. But damn it, their fans eat it up, and they show up every weekend to do it. Some of these things are dumb, but you just got to create some sort of tradition that, you know, involves the entire community, the entire student body, the staff. And like I said, it could be anything. It could be your entrance. It could be playing Enter Sandman at Virginia Tech or running down the stupid hill at Clemson.
Yeah, jumping in a pond at App State.
Right. Yeah. Something that
I
you
agree
do.
with you. Find something. And I think another tradition was App State was, you know, the graffiti in that tunnel. Like I think that's even tradition. Something small. I agree with you 1,000%. And I hate to beride MTSU, but what is the MTSU tradition? Jeff, do you have one?
I mean, there's not too many. I mean, they do that.
Besides beating Power 5 teams' ass every season, but besides that.
But in between the third and fourth quarter, they do that. I don't even know what you call it. Camp down
it's not just
song,
and it's not just MTSU
runs around, but there's not a whole lot of it. I mean, you know, after the game they go and do the band, but I think most schools,
everybody does that.
Yeah, most schools do that.
Well, I'm going to put myself out there, Sprouse, because I don't think UAB has a very football tradition. Something they do. I don't think that MTSU really has one. I don't even know. Sorry, John. Does Troy have something they do before football games? You know, even the App State. I like after the games like that. The country road take me home. Like they do that whole song. Like, that's awesome. Like, stuff like that.
Well,
that
like you mentioned for MT, even if it wasn't the entrance, what if between the third and fourth quarter they played "I'm Blue" and something that's like, okay, maybe there's a lull in this game.
I like that "I'm Blue" idea.
That's a great idea. Let's get the crowd. Let's get everybody. It's like, you know, it's like being in elementary school. Everybody stand up. Let's get this thing going.
MTSU does do something small. I can't remember if it's like the first game of the year, like it's some game of the season that they let the freshman class
run or whatever.
Yeah. I mean that's something little right there that gets students to the game.
Yeah, and I would say too, in this day and age, it's even more difficult to create traditions just because I call this the Amazon Prime generation, where everybody's like, I want it now, I order it today, I want it today, or I want it tomorrow. Like, people just don't have the patience for it, but you got to start it. It's got to be a tradition that honestly starts with the students, because again, that's what's going to catch fire. There's the ones who's be invested, and when they leave, they'll remember that tradition, and it's got to grow that way. If you didn't have a tradition, you know, from 20 or 30 years ago, like the old heads that went there, like whether you start something new, like they don't have anything to go off anyways. So it's got to start, in my opinion, with the students.
I have a tradition idea here, probably worth millions of dollars. Someone's going to steal it. It's the right person hears it. Every year, every home game, a tradition should be that some lucky student gets to dress out with a team and sit on the sidelines.
Probably illegal.
No, you can't play.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, somebody would love it.
imagine just some kid was just standing there?
I think this isn't necessarily tradition, but more of like a building relationships. I think that they should let fans run through mat drills like for a day. And I think it would.
That's a liability.
Yeah, you can sign a waiver. Come on, dude, you sign a waiver. But I think it would something like that would give the the players like more of the like a little respect for them, or do like you put it this way: most basketball schools in the country do like a midnight madness now. What if football did like a midnight like
scrimmage?
Wait. Yeah, well, wait, or like a wait, like
scrimmage the flag football team that thinks they're so good.
The intramural team, yeah, or do like a midnight. You bring a squat rack out there and have like some kid who thinks he's the strongest kid in school. I don't know, something, whatever.
That's a really good idea, though.
Yeah, something. Turn the lights on.
Hire us. We have great ideas.
Well, I knew two guys that were graduating college just that put together like this huge PowerPoint presentation and sent it to the athletic department and did not get a response.
They probably be in the Big 12 conference next year.
Right? TCU my ass. Eighth day. This is one that I think is done poorly all across the group of five. This is an education. And I don't mean an education by going to your coaching golf class. I mean an education about the game. Who on this team is a star? Do I have the opportunity? Again, we're going to bring up Middle Tennessee, circa 2012, 13. Do I know if I'm in a fraternity that Kevin Byard is going to be an all-pro safety? Do I even know that he's good? Probably not. Do I know if I'm at Central Michigan that Eric Fisher, the left tackle, is going to be the #1 overall draft pick and I have a chance to watch him for 4 years in college? Do I know that if UTSA is coming to even this is for the away team, do I know that they got 3 NFL receivers and an NFL quarterback that I'm about to watch? Or do I not know because I've never heard of this school because I only watch ESPN and I don't think players are good? I think this is done poorly all across the country. Not only do we need to educate, easy stuff, right? Time of game, time the gates open, time the tailgate starts and ends. But we got to educate these people on who the players are on this team and on the opponent's team.
And who the team is.
That's right.
Last year, UAB plays Liberty, and they sell out, like almost sell out the stadium. But then they play FAU the following week, which is
for
a conference game,
championship. Yep.
And the winner's probably going to go represent the East, and they don't even show up.
Yeah,
it's less showing. So you got to know which games. Granted, go to the Liberty game, but let's come on.
Right.
Let's go to the conference big games.
It's like again, the year we go beat Georgia Tech, everybody's fired up. The next week at home, we're playing La Monroe, who's coming off either a win or a close game against. Yeah. So it's like this is a gigantic at the time Sunbelt game, and there's 14,000 people there, and it's like, man, this is a way bigger game with way more implications than Georgia Tech game.
Yeah, well, God forbid you host a conference championship game and people know about it, and you get 3,000 people to show up.
Jeez. But yeah, I think that's the biggest one, man. And I know you can't predict who's gonna be, a draft pick or whatever, but you got an idea. If you're in the promotions, you go to the head coach and say, look, is there anybody like that's legit? Because the coaches know. They'll know, yeah, he's good, but he's not an NFL guy. Or they'll know, like, yeah, this guy's a second-day draft pick, or this guy's a day one, this guy's a Senior Bowl guy. And I don't think anybody does a good job at that.
Just talk to the strength coaches. They'll tell you.
They will tell you everything you need to know. So something else as far as education, the 9th day is transparency. Okay, and this is a big one for me. I want to know what changes are happening. I want to know when this $40 million facility, I want to know when the shovel is being put in the dirt. I want to know that when I pay my BRAA fees, I want to know where it's going. I want to see the changes. And I think people are doing better at this. They're sending you stuff, but I want to know details. And also, what do we need to do? Hey, if I'm giving $100, how many people need to give $100 or how many people need to give more? What more do we need? What are we missing? Why did this plan that was supposed to happen this year not happen, and when's it going to happen?
Yeah, well, I think that's what causes the most distrust between the fan and the organization, university. I mean, that's what's going on so poorly right now in politics and government is There is no transparency. You have no idea what's going on behind closed doors. The best thing you could do to restore faith in your fan base, let them know what's going on. This is what we're doing. Be open with the dialogue. Let people see the plans. Let people see the timeline, the calendar of when stuff's going to get done. And when you screw up, say, hey, I screwed up. It's on me. This is not going to happen again, and you fix it going forward. That's the best thing you can do. Now, if you don't ever release anything, you don't let people know what's going on, now their imagination wanders, and they're making stuff up. And you know how it is with social media today. Like, oh, I think I heard this, so now it's on social media. Now that gets traction. Now it's something that's completely not even true. But since you didn't do a good job of being transparent, letting people know what's going on, it just goes wherever it goes.
And an example of that, because I don't know how a lot of this stuff works. I think if I give $1,000, I'm thinking somebody's getting a new locker with my money. Like, I'm thinking so I don't know if when I give money or we give money or people give money and nothing's happening for football, but there's a new science building being built, or there's a new other athletic program facility being built. I just want to know, like, what happened there, because I thought I thought we didn't have money for this, and so just where's this money coming from? How's this being built? How's what's the process here? 10th day of Christmas. This is, some schools do this well, some do not. This is a brand. Now, what I say, I'm think Coastal, not Coastal Carolina University. Think in the Power Five. Think LSU. Nobody says Louisiana State. I hear Louisiana State, and I'm like, who the hell is that? Oh, LSU. Think, again, MTSU, not a very good brand. Maybe if it was Middle or Middle Tennessee, if it just became, what's that one word that everybody will associate, so that when you're watching TV, dude, you watch Middle Tennessee on ESPN, it'll either be mid.10.st, and it's just like,
I'll say this, I know this, that they forever have been trying to change that, but I mean the people at ESPN,
Coastal did it in 1 year.
Yes, no, I know. I'm just saying.
I mean, think about if you think about Louisiana's done it just in the last couple of years. You used to see ULL or Louisiana-Lafayette on there. Not anymore. It says Louisiana. Sure. Or you don't see UTEP. It doesn't say UT-El Paso. No. I mean, it's just simple stuff like that. And then along with that is, with the brand for me, is what in this community can everybody say to each other? Is it, dude, Jesse grew up in Alabama. I lived in Alabama for a long time. You can't go anywhere without somebody saying, hey, good to see you, Roll Tide, or hey, good to see you, War Eagle. Dumb, but everybody is on board with it. Everybody says something that's like, hey, I'm a fan, you're a fan, there's a game today, or something. And I think a lot of Group of Five schools don't do this. App State does it well. They say go App or whatever every time. Every call that Stu's calls, he says go Apps. Every call that Zachary Brander does, he ends it 1 Troy. So what do you say? What's that phrase or slogan that you use?
Yeah, I think you get a phrase or slogan, but I think it's as small as you had to have that phrase or slogan all over campus, everywhere. All over the business building, all over the liberal arts building, all over the science building, in the freaking library. You need to have, like, at the front desk, like, let's use, I'm not going to use Middle Tennessee, for example, anymore. Let's just use Coastal, like you said. I'm sure it doesn't say, like, Coastal Carolina. It's just like, and they, so my watch also says, Coastal Carolina. No, I'm saying, like, if it's MTSU, I can't help it, because sorry for
that's our experience. We were there for 5 years. Yeah.
If our slogan is, all right, have a good day. Hey, Ride Raiders Ride. Ride Raiders Ride needs to be all over campus, all the freaking spray paint on the sidewalks, on the flags, all over the stadium,
all over the city
on the freaking syllabus that you signed for your class, where it's like, I promise to not cheat, blah blah blah. Ride Raiders Ride. Like I think that's how you have something that sticks. And if you want to say just middle or just MT, like you don't want to be known as Middle Tennessee State, you don't want to be known as MTSU, then I think you also have to do something physically different to your football field. Don't just have MT, have middle. Just have middle. I like middle. I think if you will say, hey, I went to middle. Oh, Middle Tennessee. You know what I mean?
Again, this is not, and none of this, by the way, is to knock Middle Tennessee. This is just our experience because we spent a lot of time there. But I'm with you. As far as Middle Tennessee goes, you're the only Division I school in the country with middle, as far as I know. So you're the only one. So why not be known as middle? Because everybody knows when Western Kentucky plays, I guarantee they're all week. They're like, we got middle this week, or they make fun of MTSU by saying whatever they say, mutts or whatever.
Mitsu.
But yeah, I'm with you 100%. You think about, and again, it goes all the way back to catering to the students. You think about, again, living in Alabama and Georgia, there's 75, 80-year-old men and women right now that are sitting there. Oh, you got a class ring on or you got a shirt on, and it's Roll Tide. So could you imagine, you see somebody you haven't seen in 40 years that you know is an alumni, and it's, whatever, Ride Raiders Ride or whatever it is. Yeah. But number 11, blocking and tackling. This is what we like to call it. These are the simple things. Jesse talked about it on the field with stupid penalties, turnovers. Okay, this is the little things that don't cost any money, that nobody really notices until they really notice it. What do I mean? I mean pressure wash the God-blessed steps in the stadium. I mean, if I'm paying for a box, I want the damn carpet vacuumed. If I'm paying for an outdoor open air box, sweep the damn floor, make sure my bar stools are still there from the previous weekend, lock my stuff up. Stupid things that all they take is a little bit of effort. They don't take any extra money. They don't take any kind of promotions, any kind of big, campaign. It's just somebody's got to care and somebody's got to do it. These are, hey, does the concession stand have enough ketchup? I mean, we see this in the damn NFL. Speaking of the Titans, they can't get their concessions right. For 20 years they've been there. But it's just the little things that you don't notice until you notice them, and when you notice them, they're bad.
Well, yeah, when we went to UAB last year, I think of all the stadiums that we visited and traveled to, I've never seen more attention to detail. Whenever we were walking the field, or actually you might have been there, it might have just me, I was walking the field. I'm telling you, I saw 50 people through those stands, just making sure that place was spotless before they started letting the fans into the game. Not saying that there's been several games I've gone to where I haven't been on the field, so I'm sure a lot of schools do this, but I was highly impressed because, one, it's a new stadium. It was very clean, and they had a lot of personnel there, just making sure that it was clean before the fans entered the stadium.
No doubt. Yeah, I mean, it's again, it's the little things. It's picking up trash. It's sweeping the floors. Are the bathrooms clean? Are the toilets flushing properly? Do you have an attendant? If Swag Bear goes in there and drops a Chipotle deuce, is somebody else going to have to go in there and use a plunger? Somebody's got to be on these things. If it rains, are you going to walk down the stairs and step into 6 inches of water? Just little things. Again, that's just attention to detail more than anything. Last but not least, we talk about this a bunch. On the 12th day of Christmas, football is the front porch of the university. You go back to the brand, okay? You want to have a brand. You don't put MT on your football helmets and then put all across the university, Middle Tennessee State University or MTSU. It's all got to be the same. You got to have the same logo. You got to have the same phrases, the same everything. And again, we talk about it as football. Football is the first thing. It's the first impression 90% of people are going to see of your school. The stadium's the biggest thing on the campus, in the town. The logo's what they know. It's the only thing really that's on TV constantly. It's got to be the front porch. And if you make it a priority and you do all these other things, guess what? Your regular applicants are going to go up.
Yeah, and what I'll say too is, and if you look at, I would say the vast majority of universities' athletics across the country, you look at what sports are generating revenue, it's football. It just is what it is. It's the money driver. It's what makes the most money. Usually men's basketball or baseball usually does make some money. The vast majority of all the other sports are running a deficit. Football is funding the rest of them, which is fine. I'm all for it. I love all sports. but you have got to make football your front and centerpiece, driving force, front of the university, not necessarily above academics, but it's got to be like, hey, like this is what it is. And the schools that have done that over the last 15, 20 years, you can see where the university has gone. I mean, it is a clear, the data, it's indisputable. They're far ahead of all these other universities that were at the same level that didn't make football their forefront. Make it the front and center, grow it, drive it. It's going to bring everything along with academics, the buildings, the growth of every single part of university. It's going to bring it along with it. I promise you. I mean, it's not even close.
Who would you think is the number one school in leading in that category, Jeff?
In the group of 5?
No, everywhere. When it comes to investing in your football program, and because football is an investment, you invest a lot of money into it, and then the return will come.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say Alabama probably.
University of Alabama, as much as they paid Nick Saban, they are now the number one. I think they are the number one school in out-of-state tuition. People are paying to go to Alabama because they want to be part of that Alabama culture. Yeah. And it's just because, and I don't want to say like it's just because of Nick Saban, but it probably is. I mean, he got there in 2007, and what he's been able to do that program. You got people from New Jersey. I think New Jersey is like one of the top states right now that's feeding Alabama. It's absurd in the amount of money that these out-of-state tuition is.
You look at Boise State when they won the Fiesta Bowl. Same thing, had an influx in applicants. App State last year after or this year with the crazy games and wins, like theirs was up after Texas A&M. Like it's over and over again. We see it. These universities capitalize on the success of their football team, and you got to do it. It doesn't make sense to do it any other way, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Like you're just.
Well, Jeff, I got the numbers for you on the App State deal.
Perfect. Okay,
so this is according to the Hickory record. College game day going to App State. That game day coverage resulted in the school applications for admission spike by 25%.
Wow.
And the Board of Trustees estimates that the game day week was the equivalent of $360 million in free advertising for the school.
Wow.
Hello.
And so if y'all remember when we were at UTSA, so we were talking to the Fiji fraternity guys, and we were talking about this, and we were talking about Boise State. And I was sort of joking, but it came to be true. We were like, you guys weren't alive yet, but Boise State one time beat Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, they didn't know.
They really didn't know. They were alive, but they were little kids. But we're like, that's why Boise State. And they were like, yeah, I mean, we know Boise State just because we know Boise State. It's like, that's literally why you know Boise State, because of that one game. And they've built on it. And now they're one of the best brands, top 2 or 3 brands in the group of 5. And they're up there with the Power 5. And this all goes, look, if Boise State goes undefeated, they're going to have a real good shot at being in the playoff because they have a brand name.
Yeah.
If Utah State in the same conference with the same schedule goes undefeated, they're not going to sniff it simply because they don't have the brand that Boise has just yet. They're going to Utah State would have to win 3-4 years in a row, i.e. UCF, i.e. Cincinnati. I mean, it's just, it's so obvious from our perspective, but anyway, I could go all day on all of these topics. I told you guys offline. I may write a book.
I thought you did a fantastic job.
Hey,
These are all 12 really good points, man.
I may write a book.
Enjoyed it. I honestly, I thoroughly enjoyed this episode.
Recommended for those of you out there seriously now, my reading recommendations. Saturday Millionaires. I think it's by Christy Dosh. She's going to talk all about football on the front porch. She's got all the numbers of the Boise State applications and all that. And then Brands Win Championships by Jeremy Darlow. Talks about the brands and all that situation. But that's all we got for you guys tonight. So I think we went a lot longer than we thought we were going to go, but I had a hell of a time. This is like freaking preaching for me, all this stuff. But you guys have a very Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah, happy holidays, happy New Year, whatever you celebrate. Enjoy the time. Enjoy lots of good football. We'll still be active on the socials. Y'all hit us up. Still call the voicemail. You got like 2 weeks to call now, so you might have a lot next show. But we'll be back to review some of the bowl games and probably talk about some plans for the off season. Like and subscribe. YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, 5-star review. Share with your friends. Nothing more, not a better gift you can give this holiday season than the gift of the group of 5 guys on the YouTube screen. Share it with your family. Put it on Christmas morning. Screw the Christmas music. Have the group of 5 guys on there. You guys follow us on the social platforms at Group of 5 Guys. That's all we got for you guys tonight. Thank you, as always, for watching and listening. We're out of here.
Merry Christmas, filthy animals.